screen, I meant to flip the camera. Let's do that now. How you doing? It's me. I'm T. Ready? How are we doing this? Let's see. There we go. Welcome. Thought I'd bring you into my studio a little bit today. Here's what I'm working on. We got the usual plant water vibes. I like this one. I'm really into fluorescence. It's been a couple of years. I'm not letting go. I think I was born this way. I feel like neon colors are like, you know, underrated. You feel like they're current and that they didn't exist before. But that's just because we only have black and white photographs. You know, I feel like everybody's always been into neon colors if they could get a hold of them. And I like them. So here's what I've made today. Let's look at yesterday. Here we go, yesterday. See? Floral water, as it is. I like this one a lot. It's inspired by a lot of the lilies and hibiscus that are in bloom. I was seeing a lot of reds on my walks. Yesterday, I was there were a lot of yellows. I was really enjoying these really giant mullein that looked so beautiful. I've never seen them so tall. You know, some of them were taller than me. That was pretty neat. And there's a lot of thistle around, which I'm thinking the butterflies are probably really into. All right, let's see what else is going on my workbench. I wonder what this other one is. Let's see. Oh, look, we'll go back to our ships. These are four of the tall ships as they sailed into Boston Harbor. I really enjoyed the different, observing all the different rigging and this, you know, the way the sails were arranged. I love a good sailboat. Want to look at my other boats? There's this guy. I like this one a lot. I actually painted this one twice. I'm pretty sure it's the German one, although now I'm like, wait, is it the Portuguese? Help me. Help. But I'll show you the other one I did, the night painting. This was the first ship, the first of the tall ships, as they sailed into Boston Harbor. This was the first one I saw. I missed the first part of the parade, but I started painting with that guy. Oh, look, here's this one. More neons. Mornings with the Blue Jays. I love the birds. I have a lot of good bird action in my yard. Let's see. What do we have here? The violent unaliving of peace. What did I write here? It's hard to read. We better like something. Remain among. To remain among. Oh, compelled, I remember. Compelled to remain among the violent unaliving of peace. That's how, it's just an expression of some feelings. Know what I'm saying? I have feelings. This is a feeling. I feel compelled to participate, compelled to remain among the violent unaliving of peace. That's how it feels to be of Earth right now. Some days you feel a real violence against the possibility of peace, which, I mean, violence is obviously the opposite of peace. It just feels like the world is such a vile and violent and hostile and male-dominating and dominant, cruel, unforgiving place these days, I have to say. And so I do find that it is, it feels like a violence against my inner world, my peace within, and the peace for all of us. So some things that help are art. Here's one I just did. Went over to the Charlestown Navy Yard to get a little view of taking our little Constitution. Isn't she beauty? Really like it. And there was a Navy ship in port, and this cool old brick building I really like. I was sitting on top of the hill here, and there were a bunch of chickadees, and I was sharing my lunch with a rabbit. It was pretty peaceful. And then the Zachem. I'm pointing to my screen instead of here. Oh, look at me. I'm so dumb. Anyway, there's the Zachem in the beyond, and over here is this Converse building, and the Boston Garden, and that's Boston from the Charlestown perspective. Really like these little buildings. They're stone, granite, neat old. It's a beautiful little Navy Yard over there. I like all the stonework, and I've always enjoyed spending time there. Something about it. And here's a little snake I found. I came across this guy as I entered the woods the other night. On my walks I encounter a lot of dead stuff. On this one particular route I tend to take, I tend to find a dead animal that I end up burying. It's interesting. So it happened again, and this time it was a snake. And he was belly up. He was probably a little garter snake. He was really pretty. He had that gray to brownish shimmering back and a white belly, and he was belly up, and there were a bunch of ants crawling on him. And but when I moved him with a stick, he seemed to respond. He coiled, so I didn't feel comfortable burying him, and I don't know whether I should have maybe put him out of his misery if he was, sick. But I ended up just put him gently under some leaves, covered him up gently with some sticks and leaves, hoping for a miracle. Maybe he'd get a little protection and a little rest and recover. But I don't know. So anyway, he was a pretty little snake. And that was on my walk where I was noticing a lot of really beautiful hibiscus and some beautiful red lilies. I love walking to the woods. It's good for me. Last night I did my walk to the ocean, which is also nice. And here's my cousin kindly gave me one of these little painting kits, the little watercolor books and a little kit to go, little paints and stuff. Very sweet of her. And I've been enjoying taking my little book and my little painting watercolor kit with me and filling it up. Here's a black flutterby, as butterflies are known in my world, since my son called them that when he was small. So here's a flutterby I encountered in the woods. These are some stairs that are granite and some oak trees. And this was a butterfly bush, a very busy butterfly bush. There were tiger lilies and other pops of orange color flowers, which were nice. And then this purple butterfly bush that was happy with butterflies. There's one, and a busy little bee. It was just teeming with life. They clearly appreciate it. I've been enjoying watching the bees. I spend time around my hummingbird vine, which is blooming right now. And it's really nice, and it creates this canopy over the top of the shed that I can sort of stand under the eave of the shed and have the flowers draped over me, and I just watch the bees visiting the hummingbird vine. I'm totally telling the story and talking with my hands as if you could see off screen what my hands are doing. And this I went to the woods to watch the sunset and sat and did my painting. Let's look at some more ships. These are the night paintings. There were fireworks on one of the last nights the tall ships were in town. This was the Portuguese ship, and this one was German. I like how I did it at night, and I just added the light where the lights were on in the cabins. I kind of like that effect. I should have reflected them better here on the water. I could still add them. Maybe I'll do it right now, actually. Let's do it together. still have my brushes out because I was just finished painting. Let's take a little yellow. We'll mix it up. Take my brush. Since we're just adding a little bit here, I just want to reflect the light on the water from the cabins of the ship. See, these lights weren't on. This was at night. And now the lights are reflected on the water a little bit. I could do that here at the stern as well, as the lights were on at the back of the ship. And then there's this Swedish little vessel, and I'm gonna add yellow lights because this one was lit up brightly at night with its yellow and blue lights. And it was really, really pretty. I already did a little bit of the lighting on the water there. And this was from the bow looking, and the sails were all wrapped here. A different one. I think this ship was American. I feel bad. I never quite figured out exactly which ones they are. Thought I would. But, and then this one. Tall Ships 2026. That's this year. It was nice to see them. One of my favorite times as a kid was visiting the Tall Ships with my favorite auntie. And she left us. Pancreatic cancer took her about 3 years ago. And I miss her terribly. But I really enjoyed, I went most days that the ships were here, and I enjoyed spending time with them and getting a taste of humanity. I even went on a date. I met someone who asked me out while I was out painting and looking at ships. So that was fun. I hadn't been on a date in almost 2 years. So that was fun. And here's another one I did as it came in. I wanted to finish this one. Still gonna finish that up. I thought it was Canada, but I think it actually turned out, because this is it appeared like the Canadian flag, but this is one that I painted on its way in at a distance, you know. And I believe at the time I thought it was the Canadian ship, but I think it may have actually been the Portuguese ship, which was the biggest of those that visited. I do want to take a look and really figure it out. Here's the lynx, sweet baby lynx. This one was beautiful. It's just such a beautiful ship, and it had the American flag draped beautifully over the back. It just looks sleek and fast and capable. And this was 3 perspectives of the same ship, that is. This was from looking on, this is the bow. And then as it turned and came closer, I was still at a distance, but this is how it appeared to me. As it turned, and then as it was a bit closer, I was able to make out some more of the details. So you notice the flags and all. I like how this came out, actually. The three perspectives. And this one I really liked. I don't know. It's simple. I haven't refined it at all. It's just the way it was when I did it. These are also wrinkly because I've been traveling around with them so much. I brought them back with me, wanting to get in there and get closer and fill in details, you know? But mainly I just carried them around a lot. I liked how this one came out. The sails weren't pink, but they had this really neat orientation. They just appeared different on the horizon from most of the others. Well, they all actually had pretty distinct and unique rigging. Makes them. It's part of why they're so beautiful and interesting. I love sailboats. Let me show you some of my grandfathers. Now that I've shown you some of mine, here's some other ones. Some work. I have this one. See, it's both sides, so it sort of does a 3D thing. And I had it sort of hung to it as a bird. Kind of has bird vibes. Anyway, here's this one. See, everything feels like water. Watery flowers. And here's feels like a dragon eye. You know what I mean? See what I mean? I made this one, it was painting in the cold, when we had a very cold winter. Not even this year, but in the winter of 25, we had some very deep cold weather. And I was outside painting watercolor with the ice. And it was neat watching how it froze while I painted, because it was it was almost like a flash freeze. There were places where you could see the crackle that appeared in the ice, because it would freeze before the paint had dried, and it sort of drew into capturing the ice crystals. Something I'd like to play around with more sometime. It was really fun. Here's this section. You can sort of see how that went. So this is frozen watercolor painting. You can only get that in New England. I guess you could get it in other places too, but it was mighty cold. And here is can you tell what it is before I say? Any guesses? It's a fiddlehead. It's meant to be a fiddlehead. I like this one a lot. See how big it is? It's a biggie. It's bright and happy. I enjoy it. Ah! Oh no, I just broke the owl. The Lego owl that I've repaired 59 times already. Guess I'll be building that one again. Go me. Wouldn't it be interesting if this was a painting of the same ship done by my grandfather? Although I don't know if I imagine this was just done from memory. My grandfather took up painting bottles when he was recovering from a stroke in 1975. I like this one a lot. I like the little details, I like the anchors. My grandfather was a merchant marine, and legend has it, pretty sure it's true, he sailed around the world 7 times. Maybe where I get my love of sailboats. I never met him. He died a couple years before I was born. But I get to hang out with his art, and I make my own. So there's one of his ships with the cross. The cross is, let's grab mine. We'll do a side by side. I mean, there's a possibility. Could be the same ship. Cool, right? I didn't meet him, but he is the reason, or a big part of the reason, I've always had a home. And for that, I will always be grateful to he and my Nana and my mom and my family. I'm very lucky. Okay, ready? There's another one. This is where we live. Good old Massachusetts. I imagine the comfort of arriving home after a long journey at sea. I used to love my Nana's stories and the treasures she shared with me that he brought home for her from his many adventures. You want to see one of my favorite things? I'll show you. This is one, obviously. I love this little bottle. I don't think this one's dated. No, not signed and dated like the other one, but would have been roughly 1975. And here's one of my favorite treasures my grandfather brought back from his travels as a merchant marine. And when my Nana gave this to me, when I was a teenager, she told me that he brought it back from Argentina in 1946. And in the background are butterfly wings. That's the shimmering back. And then each little frame is a painting. I've always loved it. I've worn it. I used to wear it all the time as a teenager. I'm glad I didn't lose it then. I wear it like every day. I also wore it the day I got married. I'm not divorced, but I'm not mad at the bracelet. It's definitely something old, and it's blue. And I love it. So, have yourself a lovely and peaceful day. I hope you get a chance to make some art. I hope you have people who love you. I feel lucky that I do. Peace.